Okay, just want to say good evening to everyone. This is the first time I have ever done this. One thing I've learned this year is you don't know until you try. So, the goal of tonight and once a month is to just connect and just share stories and give information in hopes that, whatever you are dealing with or are in process of grieving and trying to find the joy and get um, a sense of a fresh start or normalcy in your life. This is just the space to do that. I often live by a phrase. I never ask anyone to do something that I wouldn't do. So one thing that this Grief Connect is going to be is just sharing stories. There's power in stories. There's power in transformation and hearing other people who have lived life and experienced, really hard things and have come out better people. So tonight, I just want to jump right in. I'm going to share my story and just kind of talk about what is to come next year for this project that I have started. So hopefully you can see my screen. I'm sharing it again. This is something new for me, so let's see how it goes. So basically, the website that I've designed, it's just really a safe place to be you. And a lot of times it's hard to sit in front of a person you don't know or be surrounded by four walls to deal with something that you've lost, whether that's someone you love, a job, an idea, career. There's so many things that we deal with that it's just hard to do it in the more traditional way. So this journey, this website is basically my process of what I've been dealing with the last few years, as I have had some pretty traumatic losses in my life over some time. And with COVID, we've also had to deal with unknown loss and the loss of plans and things that we were looking forward to this year, being away from family, jobs, a lot of what ifs for all of us. So I found this chart to be helpful. um, I'm not sure still where it came from. No one seems to know who to give credit to this chart, but I find it to be not only helpful during this time that we're dealing with the effects of the coronavirus, but also with grief, because grief has so many faces and so many side roads. There's not one specific way to process it, and it's not like you process it at one time and it's finished. So I found this to be helpful for me, not only during this COVID time, but as I continue to deal with some loss in my life. Um, so you have these three zones: the fear zone, the learning zone, and the growth zone. And every day I know exactly where I am, and it's a good way to be aware of where you are and to know how you can grow and where you can learn. And it's okay to be in the fear zone, right? There's just days where life is tough, there are no answers, and you don't want to deal with it. Uh, the key is to not stay there, to not get stuck. And so, what I thought would be a cool idea is to take this upcoming year of 2021, and again, we have no clue what we have coming, but just to take time to celebrate people. We have so many great people around us, and so many people who have dealt with such loss and pain, but they've found ways to celebrate life and to overcome those losses and become better people. And so I'm just going to just briefly share a little bit about my story. I had two wonderful men in my life. That one you see there, that looks a little bit like me, that's my dad. And then the other guy there is my father-in-law. And so respectively, their names are Ken and Robert. And so, Jay and I, my husband, we got married back in 2014. Um, and a few months later, we found out his father was sick. And so, we just honestly did the next thing. So we packed a couple of bags and we we drove to Greenville, South Carolina from Columbia, and we just started living life to take care of him, to figure out what we can do. And over time, we found out that he had cancer, and we knew that death would be imminent. We did know that um, there was not much that could be done other than to keep him comfortable. So this type of loss for me was, it was anticipated. It was something that we knew was coming, and we knew at some point in time that we'd have to say our goodbyes. And that happened, in February of 2016. So we had about a year with his dad, and there were times that were really, really tough, and there are moments that I wouldn't trade for the world. And I'll get to a couple of those stories shortly. With my father, May 30th, 2018, I had no clue. This loss was sudden, and unfortunately, he was killed in a work accident. My dad was a truck driver, and so um, this was completely out of the blue. And this was around Memorial Day, and I remember just 3 days ago hanging out with him, and all the family was there. My brother and his kids, me and Jay and my daughter, and we had the best day. Like, I couldn't have dreamed up a better day. And now in hindsight, it was such a gift to have had that day. And so that loss was sudden, unexpected, um, like someone just coming out of nowhere and just hitting you in the throat. You can't breathe, you can't move, you're just stunned. So my reactions between these two losses were quite different. With my father-in-law, I was very much in the caretaking role, and that's something with my personality is quite natural for me. So it was, um, you know, it was so helpful and beneficial for me to be able to work out the things that I was feeling and thinking about, knowing that he was, not going to get better. So there was days of cooking and taking walks and watching TV and just hearing stories of his childhood, just things that build memories. So when these hard times come, you have the ability to recall them and be thankful for them. With my father, it was, and I'm still trying to figure out, to be honest, it was shock for a few days. And um, we were living in Greenville, and I'm originally from Gastonia, North Carolina. So that drive home, my mom had tried to call me like early that morning when it first happened. And one of the rare times that I actually turned off my phone, and she called Jay and let him know. And he was on his way out to work, and he came and he told me. And I'm pretty much a straight shooter. I like everything laid out on the table. And from the look of his face, I knew something was wrong. And I just said, "Who is it?" And he was like, "It's your dad." And it was like this questioning. It's almost like if I said it, if I say it so many times, is it really true? And then, just that hour and a half drive to my parents' home and walking in and embracing my mom. I'm able to say these things now without, breaking down or with tears, but that was such a tough moment to see her losing her spouse, and me losing my dad, and then my brother getting there, and all our family. So my reaction starkly different. There's such a difference between, a acute loss trauma. Sometimes it's compared to that of, you know, having PTSD. It really affects your brain in a different way versus anticipated grief, where um, you kind of work through some of that process in a space that is not so um, chaotic in your mind. What did I do? I am a busy bee. So the best thing I do when I don't want to deal with grief is to busy myself. And then ironically, when I'm healthy and at my best, the best thing that I can do is to serve others. So it's very difficult for others sometimes to see how I'm doing because I am constantly moving and constantly encouraging and supporting others when and sometimes I need to be slowing down, taking a break, resting, taking care of myself. So with both losses, I jumped in and took charge really. With my father-in-law and both my dad's funerals, I pretty much dealt with every detail, made sure everybody had all the information, got everything ready, always prepared. And a couple weeks pass and then I finally like crash, right? That, you're holding it all in, and then you finally let yourself feel. Um, and so over time, I've been able to acknowledge that in my life, and I've had other losses besides these two amazing men in my life. That these two, I didn't stay in that space so long, so I was able to be more aware of where I was and what I needed, and to verbalize what I needed. So what helped me was finding things to give me a sense of purpose, finding things to decrease my stress, and to, verbalize my pain, to express my pain. So the three main things that helped me were my support system. I have an amazing group of friends and family that really stepped up for me, and to this day are consistently checking in on me and asking me how they can listen or love or anything they can do. Just simple acts of kindness. That's gone a long way for me. The second thing that helped me, and is still helping me, is dance. I love dance. It's a part of me, and so as well as music and artistry. So songs, writing, journaling, and just in simplest terms, dancing it out um, has really been beneficial for me in times where the grief is just unbearable, to be honest, when your brain doesn't shut off or you have physical symptoms of stress. It's exercise, dance is medicine. It truly is. And the last thing that has helped me was starting this website. My love for people and music and dance, I was like, I need to put this in a way to share it, to see if it will help other people. And I've just spent this past year really trying to make my grieving process a visual, tangible, practical tool for other people to use. And it's been very therapeutic for me. Who helped me? Again, I just have a really strong support system, but sometimes you do need to have people who are objective, who really don't know you, and who has been through what you've been through. So for me, I was able to utilize online counseling during this time of COVID because it's a little safer than going in person. That's been a huge help, and I joined a support group for other people who have had sudden loss of a parent. Um, so that's my story in a nutshell. I didn't want to go too in depth, but just kind of get out, you know, get out there, especially as we're entering in the Christmas season and going into the new year. There's so many of us who are carrying heavy, heavy stuff. And, um, you know, we can choose to try to avoid it or we can acknowledge it. And I find that the more that we acknowledge these bags, these heavy bags of grief, of things that we have not worked through, the longer we carry them, it just isn't good for us. But if we can acknowledge it and try to find a couple of practical tools to express those things, we can feel lighter, we can have more clarity, and we can really live out our full capacity of the amazing people that we are. And so, talking about this season, you know, a lot of people cannot stand the holidays. I have friends and family who, you know, they are different people during the holidays because it is a reminder that the people that they love or something that they may have lost during this time is no longer with them. And it's hard, and understandably so. We don't all have great holiday stories. And it's difficult to navigate when you see people that have, you know, cheerful pictures of family on social media, or they are excited to share good news when all you can think about is this is the day that my best friend died, or I lost my, you know, my favorite pet, or um, you know, I lost my job. You know, there's so many things that we don't realize that people can be going through. And so it's definitely a time that we, you know, we definitely don't hide our joy because people need to see it, but to be sensitive and kind and empathetic uh, to those around us during the season. So I just wanted to share a few things that I've been finding to be a huge benefit for me, not just during the holiday season, but just in the day to day this year with so many things that we have had thrown at us as a society and as individuals. So, if you're still tuning in, here are a few things to consider as we go into Christmas. And this is my hope for you, that you're able to do these things with joy and um, with excitement. Um, feel that might seem kind of simple, but there's so many things that we have that we can escape in instead of feeling our pain. Our phones, TV, movies, food, you name it, right? We all have our different vices. Really try to take the time to feel your loss, try to understand it, um, and be kind to yourself. I hope that you have time to think. Take time to enjoy your memories. There's so much in this life that is fleeting. There's so much in this life that is here one day and gone the next. But one thing that is such a gift to us is our memories. I encourage you to write them down, share stories, say the names of loved ones that you've lost. Um, show gratitude for the job you used to have, and remind yourself that you still have those capabilities and that your time will come again. It's so important to think well of yourself and think well of your situations. Um, to have those memories that, you know, so when things are not going well and you have those tough days, you have something to fall back on. Rest. And boy, do I, out of all these things here, I struggle with rest so much. I am a huge extrovert, love being around people, love to be social. I actually have to write in my calendar. I take myself out on a date twice a month, just me, myself, and I. for that alone time and quality time with myself to just reflect. So rest, take the time alone for whatever you need, for a good cry, a good laugh, to sleep. Um, Take that time. It's so important. And just as it is important to take the time alone, take the time to connect with others. And we are limited right now with our quarantine and guidelines, but as much as you can, whether it's through Zoom or outside, on a walk, or the people that you have the ability to be around in your household, take the time to be with others. We were made for connection, and when things are not great, and we are really sad about missing our people, missing things, it's so important to have that human connection. Act. There's such a healing and taking the time to serve others. That's one thing that I have found over the years, that the more that I give myself away, I find myself. And there's so many things in all of our areas. It doesn't matter where you are in this world, that someone is in need. And it's just simple things that you can do. Donate, to a charity. Make a meal for your neighbor. Um, grab a backpack and throw some socks and bottles of water and some snacks in it, and hand it to um, a homeless man or woman as you're in traffic, especially if you live in Atlanta. There's always a way to help others. Just be open to seeing those ways to take time out to act and serve. Find joy in any way that you can. Take the time to create, whether you like to cook or dance, sing, write. Whatever your hobbies are, set aside some time each day to just to really find joy in the little things. And lastly, um, just breathe. I'll never forget at my dad's funeral. I have no clue who the lady was. I believe she might have worked with my mom. And there were hundreds of people that came to my dad's funeral. It was such a celebration, but it was such a hard day. And, me, my mom, and my brother were just sitting there. And I think at this point, I'm just like sobbing, trying to catch my breath. My head's down, my shoulders are slumped. It's like I just couldn't. It's like after hearing so many people tell you how sorry they are and sharing all their grief, it just becomes at some point so much, so overwhelming. And she just lifted my chin up and she said, just breathe. And it was the best advice that I received that day. And so when things really get hard, um, just breathe. Just that deep breath in, deep breath out, and just find that rhythm of your breathing, and just breathe, knowing that you are alive and that you were created to tackle the hardest of things and overcome them. And it's not easy, but you have everything that you need to do it. So that's my hope for you this holiday season: to feel, think, rest, connect, act, find joy, and just breathe. And here are just a few resources that I wanted to share. I'm a big fan of NPR, and if you check out my website, there'll be some more blogs that I'll be sharing this upcoming year. Just listening to a lot of podcasts and interviews and articles. There's just so much information out there that's good, and we all learn in different ways. Some of us love to hear stories. Some of us are very cerebral and love to read and research. And some of us like to move and act. And it's all out there for whatever learning style suits you best. Again, that, that's pretty much it. I thank you so much for listening. Again, thank you for just allowing me to have the space to share a little bit of my grief journey. And I'm really excited about what I'm creating. I feel that we all need a little help sometimes, and we all need to celebrate sometimes. And so when, life, throws its curved balls and heavy blows, there's still joy to be found in those moments. And so thank you for listening. Again, my website, check it out, lovegriefproject.com. And if you have any questions, feel free. You can find me on Facebook, April Holder. My contact information is on a website. Would love to hear your story or chat or just provide any kind of help that I can. I wish everyone a Merry Christmas, a happy holiday season, and may the start of your new year be intentional and just be full of excitement of what's to come. Thank you for tuning in. Good night.